You checked every box. You did what you were supposed to do. You followed the steps, you earned the degree, got the job, built the life that looks right from the outside. And somehow you feel nothing. Not relief, not pride, just quiet emptiness. Like you climbed a mountain only to realize it wasn't the one you wanted to be on.
This isn't about laziness or lack of ambition. You've been anything but lazy. You've been disciplined, focused. You made the responsible choices. You said no to distractions. You optimized your life for success. And now you're standing in the center of that success, looking around, wondering why it feels like you're watching your own life through glass. The worst part? You can't complain. Not really. Because objectively, your life is fine. Good, even. So you smile. You say, "I'm good," when people ask. You keep moving. But inside, there's this quiet question that won't go away. Is this it? You thought achievement would feel like arrival. Instead, it feels like you're still waiting for something to begin. The excitement you expected never came. The fulfillment you were promised feels like a concept you read about but never actually experienced. And beneath all of it sits something even more unsettling, the suspicion that you've been working toward a destination someone else chose for you.
Here's what nobody tells you. This emptiness isn't evidence that you're broken. It's evidence that you're human. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's actually doing exactly what it was designed to do, sending you a signal. The emptiness you feel is information. It's your internal compass trying to tell you something important. You've been navigating by someone else's map. Let me explain what's happening in your brain. You have two systems running simultaneously. Psychologists call this the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is external. It's about outcomes, approval, status, security. It's the resume, the checklist, the shoulds. Intrinsic motivation is internal. It's about meaning, curiosity, values, authentic desire. It's the diary, the things you do even if no one was watching. Here's the problem. You can build an entire life on extrinsic motivation. You can get very far, but extrinsic goals have a psychological quirk. They don't satisfy the part of your brain that creates lasting fulfillment. There's a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation. Your brain is wired to return to a baseline level of happiness, regardless of external circumstances. You achieve the thing, you feel a brief spark, then your brain recalibrates. The new normal becomes normal. This is why the promotion feels good for 2 weeks, why the relationship loses its shine, why making it doesn't feel how you thought it would. But there's something deeper happening here. Conditional self-worth is the invisible framework many of us build our lives on. It's the belief that often formed in childhood that your value is earned through performance. You learned that love, attention, and safety came when you did things right, so you kept doing things right. You became excellent at it. But here's the trap. When your worth is conditional, achievement never actually fills the void, because the void isn't about accomplishment. It's about not knowing who you are when you're not performing. You outsourced your identity to external markers, and now you have all the markers, but you've lost contact with the person holding them. Think of it like this. You built a beautiful house on rented land, and now you're realizing the foundation was never yours to begin with. So how do you rebuild on your own foundation? How do you move from empty achievement to actual meaning? This isn't about quitting your job or burning your life down. It's about reconnecting with the internal system you've been ignoring. Step 1. Separate your identity from your output. Your brain has conflated "I did something good" with "I am good." Start practicing this distinction. What I accomplish is not who I am. Why this works? When you decouple worth from achievement, you stop chasing validation and start choosing based on genuine interest. Your prefrontal cortex can finally engage in authentic decision-making instead of threat avoidance. Real-life example? Next time you complete something, notice the urge to immediately look for external validation, the approval, the recognition. Instead, pause,
Ask yourself, did I enjoy doing this? Did it mean something to me beyond the outcome? That pause is where your real self lives. Step 2. Identify what you've been tolerating. Emptiness often comes from silent resignation. You've been tolerating things, jobs, relationships, routines, because they look right, not because they feel right. Why this works? Your nervous system holds stress you're not consciously processing. When you name what you're tolerating, you move it from your body into your conscious awareness, where you can actually make choices about it. Real life example? Write down one thing in your life you're doing purely because it's the responsible thing, or what you should do. Not things you hate, just things that feel neutral or obligatory. That's your starting point. Step 3. Practice micro-authenticity. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to start making small choices based on what you actually want, not what looks good. Why this works? Every time you honor a genuine preference, even a tiny one, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with intrinsic motivation. You're literally rewiring your brain to recognize and trust your own desires. Real life example. Someone asks what you want for dinner. You've spent years saying, I don't care, whatever you want. This time, even if it feels uncomfortable, say what you actually want. This sounds trivial. It's not. It's practice. Step 4. Sit with the discomfort of wanting less. Part of why you feel empty is because you've been taught that wanting more is virtuous. Bigger goals, higher status, more achievement. But what if what you actually want is smaller, quieter, simpler? Why this works? When you stop forcing yourself to want what you should want, your brain can finally access what psychologists call authentic desire, the things that genuinely energize you, not the things that impress others. Real life example, notice when you feel guilt for wanting something simple. That guilt is the old system. Let it be there. Want the simple thing anyway. Step 5. Ask a different question. You've been asking, what should I do next? Start asking, what makes me feel alive? Why this works? Should engages your external validation system. Alive engages your intrinsic motivation system. Different question, different neural pathway, different life. Real life example. Think about the last time you lost track of time doing something. Not because it was productive, not because it looked good, just because you were genuinely absorbed. That's your compass. Here's the one thing to remember. You are not your resume. You are the person who's been carrying it. For years, you built external scaffolding, achievements, status, proof. You thought that was the structure. But external scaffolding only works when you have an internal foundation. The emptiness you feel isn't failure. It's your foundation calling you back. You don't need to achieve more. You need to become more yourself. And that's not a goal you reach. It's a state you practice. Doing everything right got you here, but right was never the question you needed to answer. The real question is quieter, harder, more honest. What do I actually want? Not what looks good, not what's safe, not what proves anything to anyone. Just, what do you want? You don't have to answer it today, but you do have to start listening. Because the life you're supposed to live isn't the one you build for applause. It's the one you build in the quiet moments when no one's watching. And that life, it's still waiting for you.